getting close to time. I think we should start if folks are really coming on as they can get to their offices or their computers. So would like to begin. And Dave, are you ready to flash up the flag there?
Yep.
Okay, here we go. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. And Dan, do you have an invocation for us?
Yes. Father, we once again come before you today and just ask for your hand of mercy on our nation, on all the challenges right now, fires, storms, COVID, and that you would just heal our land. Thank you again for our community and the many blessings that we have, the ability to help where needed. Again, give us strength, protect us, bless our families, and our work in the community. We ask these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Welcome, everybody. Glad to see you here. And I was hoping that we might have some other guests, but we will do what we've got right here. So our program today and our guest today is Sherry Sheridan. And she'll be speaking to us in a few minutes about the Redmond Food Project. Any announcements? Any announcements? Well, guess what? I've got a few. Okay. First of all, we'd like to let everybody know, and it'll be going out, Carl will be putting this out in the email, that we will have our induction program on the 29th of September at Juniper. Dinner will be served at 6:30. If you'd like to come out beforehand to see if that royal crown is still there, like Carl was advertising a minute ago, that will be entirely up to you. But we would ask that if you're attending, and I'm hoping that you can, that you contact Juniper and order your dinner ahead of time. On Friday, on Tuesday nights, they have their prime rib special, $16.99. If you want something else, please let them know. I really would appreciate that. And if you do not have your green bag yet, Sherry will be talking about this in a minute. Let me know, and I'll make sure that you're able to get a hold of that. And we will have our board meeting next Tuesday. We had to postpone it for a week. We have lots of Tuesdays this month. So we will do it next week, and we'll be talking about many of the same things, you know, venues, the induction, and some other things too. So that's what I have for announcements. Anything else?
Earl, is the meeting going to be outside on the patio?
No, the meeting will be inside. The meeting will be inside. We talked to them. They can do what they need to do in terms of spreading it around. Given the issues of maybe not being very warm at 6:30 in that time of year, by the time we would get done, we thought it was better that it went inside. So it will be inside. It will also be Zoomed. So if you do not feel comfortable being inside, you can be there by Zoom. Penny, you had a question or announcement?
Yeah, so well, it was just a suggestion. It was just brought to my attention that our Redmond Kiwanis website goes to a pharmaceutical company right now. So I don't know who's in charge of that, but maybe you want to check the link and look at the Google search. I just tried it too, and I'm seeing the same thing.
Okay, thank you. Any others? Okay, good. Well, highlight of the day, and this is the joke of the day. Now, this is a joke that has been sent to me by one of our members. I will protect his identity, though, just in case it's not to your liking. The joke is, and some of you can remember a guy by the name of Groucho Marx. This is the Groucho Marx joke. Outside of a dog, a book is man's best friend. Inside of a dog, it's too dark to read.
Good one.
I'll protect his identity.
That
Okay.
was Groucho Marx.
Yeah, that's a Groucho Marx joke from some years ago. Okay, today's program is Sherry Sheridan, and Sherry's going to talk to us a little bit about the Redmond Food Project. And met with Sherry yesterday and had a lot of good information. And things that we're doing are making a difference. So Sherry, would you like to talk to us a little bit about the Redmond Food Project?
I sure would, Earl, and thank you for having me, folks. Okay, full disclosure, I have not done a public presentation in about 10 years, so I will be using my notes. I think that my enthusiasm and passion for the subject will far outweigh any lack of eloquence that you experienced today. But my name is Sherry Sheridan. I am the founder of the Redmond Food Project. And just a little background on me. I moved to Redmond from Alaska in 2013, where I retired early from a career in employee and customer relations. My brother and my mother both fell ill at the same time. So the house that we bought in 2012 here at Eagle Crest to use as a vacation rental until we retired became my home for the next 4 years. And then my husband retired a couple of years ago, and now Redmond is our permanent home. I was going back and forth between Oregon and Alaska every 6 weeks there for about 4 years. So that made it very interesting. We didn't talk about how long I had. I hope I don't take up too much time. What I have for you won't take much time because the whole program is so simple. There's just not a lot to say about it. But today I want to give you some information on what a neighborhood food project is, how it works, what the benefits of the model that we're using are, a little history. Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
A little history of the neighborhood food project itself, and then specifically Redmond Food Project. And hopefully if we have time, I'd like to open up to questions if you have any for me. So with that, we'll get started. What is a neighborhood food project? It's actually, the model itself is America's first neighborhood-based food donation program. Every 2 months, a volunteer will go door to door, pick up bags, take them to the food bank. That is it in a nutshell. The statistics that we have seen are that 1 in 7 people in our country are food insecure, 1/3 of that number being children. I think it's a safe bet that that number in the past few months has increased significantly with the coronavirus, the economy, the fires. Our area is probably experiencing more than that. The food project is the easiest, most effective, most empowering way to organize community support for local food banks. Traditionally, the community outreach model for collecting food would be a one-time food drive. A lot of times those happen during the holidays, Thanksgiving, Christmas. So it's just a one-time drive. The food project is different in that it's, rather than being a food drive, it's a donor drive. And we collect donors that give food 6 times a year. So it's a year-round sustainable program. And the system itself is remarkably simple. A volunteer called a neighborhood coordinator, that's what we're calling you, Earl, you're the neighborhood coordinator for Kiwanis Club, would go door to door, typically go door to door in their neighborhood to recruit the food donors. And that can be any size and really any type of neighborhood. Kiwanis Club is an example of that. You folks don't live close together, but you're a club, you're a group. And so we would consider your group a neighborhood. But when the food donor signs up, they're given a reusable green bag. You've all seen those. And when they go to the grocery store, they just put 1 or 2 extra items into their cart and put those items in their bag. During the 2 months between pickups, the neighborhood coordinator will either email or call the food donor just to keep them reminded about the date of the pickup. And then every 2 months, on the second Saturday of every even month, the donor puts out the bag on their front porch. The neighborhood coordinator picks up that bag, leaves them an empty new bag with a thank you card, and takes the bags to the food bank, where volunteers are waiting to unload the cars, weigh the food. And right now, the bags are staying on pallets and tables for a few days just to quarantine before they're put back up on the shelves and distributed to the clients of the food bank. The benefits of our model are threefold. One, it makes the food bank stronger. It builds stronger relationships between the donors and the food bank, which increases the public profile of the food bank. It increases not only the quantity of food that is available to those that are food insecure, but it increases the quality, and here's why. What I've noticed is that when people are picking out their extra item of food, they're picking out the same food that they would be feeding their own family. They are duplicating what they are giving to their own family rather than taking the time to go down to the bottom shelf and find the cheapest, possibly less nutritious food. So I've noticed it in the food coming in, and it's very encouraging to see that people are just being conscious of quality of food. And it saves the food bank resources. And what I mean by that is that the food that we're donating is food that the food bank might typically have to purchase with money that's been donated to their program. Well, we give them the opportunity then to use that money to buy milk and eggs, some of the perishables that we wouldn't be normally donating. It also gives them an opportunity to provide other programs like nutrition programs or cooking classes for the folks that are receiving the donations. The second benefit is that it strengthens community. This is one of my favorite parts. And I know that you will understand when I tell you that it gives us the opportunity to focus on common goals rather than our differences. And I think you would agree that we need a little more of that right now in these times. It gives people an opportunity to get to know their neighbors. Yes, I started a food project, but I'm kind of a shy girl. And so I don't go around to my neighbors knocking on the door, introducing myself, and, to see what's up. But with this program, I have met so many amazing people, and I'm seeing now what I missed out on. So it builds pride and optimism. You know how good it feels to see your neighbors stepping up to the plate, pitching in and helping, and it's contagious. And I've noticed that we're just opening the door for people to help. They're not walking through it, they're leaping through it. It's just so amazing to watch. It empowers a community to be self-sufficient. And by that, I mean, we're able to solve our own problems as a community rather than to rely on the government to help us out. And that makes me happy. That gives me some pride in our community. It also adds a valuable infrastructure. This model, once it's established in a community, can be used for other needs. You name it. This model can work for just about anything, whether it's collecting clothes, or, you name it. The third benefit is that it helps donors lead a happier and fulfilled life. Most people truly want to help. They just kind of haven't figured out exactly what they would do to make a difference. And we provide the opportunity. We make it easy for them to feel like they're making a difference in their community. And the feedback that I've received supports that. People are just so excited that they have an opportunity to be part of the solution. The secret to our success is that we build connection. We don't just don't just collect food. We build connection between people. We get a sense of belonging and accomplishment, and we make it easier for people to experience that joy of a simple act of kindness. So how do we know it works? Well, it does. It's got a 10-year track record. About 10 years ago, y'all remember 2008, when the economy took a little nosedive. A group of neighbors in Ashland, Oregon wanted to help. They knew they had the means. They knew their neighbors wanted to help. And so they created this simple door-to-door program. And their first collection, they had 25 donors, and they collected 3,000 pounds of food for their local food bank. And a year later, they looked back on the year, and they had collected 100,000 pounds of food and recruited 100 neighborhood coordinators. So the program was very successful, and they wanted to spread the love. So they had 3 goals. The first one was to provide a regular supply of food to feed hungry neighbors year-round. Their second goal was to create new neighborhood connections and strengthen their community. And their third goal was to serve as a model for other communities. And they did just that. Right now, there are approximately 60 communities in our country, including Redmond Food Project, that are using the model that these folks in Ashland, Oregon created. And what they do is they, their thought is, well, we made all the mistakes. We did all the hard work so that you don't have to. And that's exactly what they're doing. They have helped us get started. They've given great advice. They're just an amazing support group for any organization that wants to start a food project anywhere. So I've been very grateful for that. And all of this was accomplished with zero cost to the food pantries. They don't pay for anything. And so the money for our bags and our supplies, such as our thank you cards or our sorry we missed you cards, we actually, I don't know if you've seen the brochure, but we've got a really nice brochure that has been printed for us. That's all donated by either individuals, businesses, or foundations. And one of the things that I'm very proud of and very happy about is that our organization is 100% volunteer. No one in the organization, including me, gets a paycheck. We're all volunteers. And it's just inspiring to watch people and to be connected with people that have that mindset. How am I doing on time, Earl? Am I okay? A little history about how Redmond Food Project then got started. In 2019, I was volunteering at the Giving Plate. Maybe you haven't heard of it. Most people know what the Giving Plate is. It's a food bank in Bend that is run just by some remarkable people. And I was going over there and volunteering, and I noticed that Redmond wasn't on the list of communities served. And so I asked, well, what about Redmond? And they said, well, Redmond has a food bank that, meets all the qualifications. So, they serve the Redmond community. And so about that time, I was introduced to Larry and Sue Marceau, who are the founders of the Bend Food Project. and got inspired. It all just kind of came together. Redmond didn't have a food project. Redmond probably needed one. And I was retired, and I knew I had the skills and the drive to do it. So when I first met with them, they were a little leery, because apparently many folks have said, oh, I'll do that, and just kind of fizzled out. So I think once they realized that I was serious, boy, they have just been amazing support. They offered to be our fiscal sponsor until we can get our 501c3 designation. But what that gives us is we're under their 501c3 umbrella, and therefore we are under their insurance. All donations to Redmond Food Project are tax deductible. And so we're basically operating just like a 501c3 and all that that entails. We just don't have the designation ourselves yet. And that's forthcoming. You know, a couple of years probably to get some miles under our belt, and then we'll take that leap. Let me make sure I covered everything on that. Oh, nope, I didn't. Okay, so I started talking about it, and talking, you know, all inspired and talking. Finally, my neighbor, who I will be forever grateful to, said to me, so Sherry, when are you gonna put some walk to that talk? And it was just the nudge that I needed to go full steam. So in April of 2020, amid COVID lockdown, I put my sewing machine away, because up until then I was making masks until I was blue in the face. Redmond Food Project was born, and we haven't looked back since. As you all know, St. Vincent de Paul Food Pantry in Redmond is our partner. And they cover 550 square miles of the Redmond Food District. When they have excess, they share with the Redmond Senior Center, Meals on Wheels, homeless vets, and other food pantries. You know, they're not the only food pantry in our communities. So their program and their leadership is just been very impressive, and I'm very happy to be partnered with them. So our first official collection day was in June, and we collected on our first collection over 2,000 pounds of food. And in August, the collection that you folks were a part of, we brought in over 3,000 pounds of food. So as our donor base grows, so does the weight of the food. Don DeLand, he's the manager of the food pantry there at St. Vincent de Paul, said that our donations in June lasted 2 weeks. The August donation lasted 3 weeks. So, you know, it's safe to say that as our donations grow, so does his ability to provide quality food to the folks that are in need. We now have a little over 150 donors on our volunteer team. You are part of that, so thank you. The Eagle Crest newsletter just came out, and so I'm guessing we'll get a few more folks in Eagle Crest. But I have to say in closing that this is probably one of the most fulfilling projects I have ever taken on. And I'm guessing that it's a safe bet to say that you're feeling pretty good about it too. If not, I want to know why. But I am looking for neighborhood coordinators in the Redmond area. If you know of someone, or if it's something that one of you would like to do, I know there are a couple of you that pick up bags for several of your neighbors. I would love to hear from you. I'm at Redmond Food Project at iCloud.com if you have any questions or concerns about that, or if you know of somebody that you think would be a good fit for a neighborhood coordinator. We're spread a little thin in Redmond proper. We've got plenty up here in Eagle Crest, but But Redmond proper, I'm spread a little thin for folks that would want to build a neighborhood or pick up the folks that just randomly sign up either on our website or through a friend. So that is it. I would open it up to questions if we have time, Earl, if we have time for questions.
Oh, we have time for questions. Any
Excellent.
folks have any questions about how this operates or what the issues are or anything like that?
So I'm curious if there are food items that would be preferred as a donation.
Right. And definitely, obviously non-perishables, but right now it's interesting. The canned beans, canned vegetables of any kind right now, mac and cheese. They get plenty of rice from Neighborhood Impact, you know, that sort of thing, but they are short on beans and vegetables. So if, you know, while you're filling your bag, if you want to kind of focus on that. And here's why. Back when things were kind of closed up, the grocery stores, they have surplus. They have a sell-by date on their food. Perfectly good food. It's just that after a certain date, they can't sell it. So they send that stuff over to Neighbor Impact or different organizations. Now that folks are shopping in the grocery stores, there's not a lot of surplus. And what Don has found, I talked to him last week, and what he has found that those are the items that they're just not even garbanzo beans, which is the last thing people pick out, are available. So yeah, the next time you go to Costco, yeah.
Other questions?
Does that help? Yeah.
But just a comment, I would say, Sherry, and that is what you had mentioned earlier, that most of the time our food drives are at Thanksgiving, Christmas, and organizations gather up food and take it in. The need, however, is year long. And
Yes.
so it's the sustainability of what this program provides, which is really important, I think, for the food organizations and the people who pass that stuff out. I know if you know of anybody else who would like to have a green bag or to be a coordinator in their community and talk to their neighbors. I know John has done a great job of getting his neighbors to become part of the program.
Boy, do I want to talk to John.
John Bruce has been really good at that. And so if it, you know, they don't always have to be Kiwanians, but if you could get that out and do it through us, that'd be great. Any other issues or questions or comment people might have?
Well, this is Alan.
John.
Sherry,
Alan.
Sherry, thank you for what you're doing. It makes our community stronger, and this is a great idea. You know, a lot of people, they don't know how to cook. So do they get recipes? Is there maybe somewhere that we should be looking at giving them instructions on how to use the food that they get?
Well, you know what? I'm going to put that on my list. That's a good question. And I don't know if you've had Don DeLand speak to your group. He's the manager there at St. Vincent de Paul. And he actually has more information on what they do there. But I know that, I know at the Giving Plate, and I'm thinking that St. Vincent de Paul does the same thing. They put together bags of ingredients for a meal with the recipe on it. And if they don't do it, I'm going to suggest that they do it. But great, you're right. And that's why a lot of the canned vegetables and that sort of thing. But if you can teach people to cook, a little rice goes a long way and can make some great meals. So
Uh,
it's on my list. I'll get the answer to you probably through Earl.
John Duff.
I was just curious if you could estimate how much supply out in terms of weeks that you have.
Well, you mean as far as food goes?
Yeah, like if donations were to stop today, do you have enough to serve for like 3 weeks or 4 weeks, or can you measure it in that way?
Well, that would be a food pantry question because, we're kind of the delivery guy. We just collect food from you and deliver it to them. And so, again, that's a good question. I don't know the answer to it. I don't think he is at a place where he is running out of food, because we're not their only supplier for food. They get food from Neighbor Impact. They get monetary donations, and he goes out and buys food in bulk. So that's what I mean when I say that what we're doing opens up their resources. They can use that money to, like we were talking about, help people learn how to cook or buy the other items.
Okay, thank you.
You
Earl,
bet.
when is our next one?
Oh, our next food is October
10th.
13th, I believe. Second Saturday of October.
Yes,
I believe it's the 10th.
October the 10th.
October 10th. See, don't listen to me. You won't have your bag out. It's the second Saturday of every even month.
Well, and remind me where we bring the food.
What, remind us where we bring the food?
I got a bag, I filled it up. Where do I bring it?
You can, I will be, or one of us will be at the Veterans Park in front of Chamber of Commerce.
Centennial.
Yeah, Centennial Park, excuse me. Probably on Friday and Saturday, so you can deliver them to us. Since I initially did this, I thought you could bring them to a Kiwanis meeting. But obviously, that's one of the things that had to be altered a little bit. But either at the park, give me a call. If you can't, now come over and pick it up.
Yeah, it's ideal that the neighborhood coordinators are the ones that collect the food however they do it. You guys have a system. Normally on a regular neighborhood, the neighborhood coordinator would just come to your door and pick it up. But you guys are a club, and so I'm guessing you're pretty spread out. That just probably would not be very efficient, but yeah. And then Earl and I can't remember the name of the gentleman that came with you, and I had his name on the Facebook. Anyway, then they would bring the bulk of it to our collection site at St. Vincent de Paul on collection day.
Well, it was really good to be able to help us pick up and deliver it on
Yes,
Saturday.
definitely. Yeah. Yeah, because it's labor intensive, and most of us are a few years from being spring chickens. And so, we but
You were doing so well until then.
we still got it. And it's just been fun to watch people kind of come out of retirement. We've got some purpose, and it's a beautiful thing to behold.
This really is a very easy project, even for the coordinator to go pick them up. It's just and people do feel good about being able to give. It's not like you're taking your last sandwich out of your.
Right. It's embarrassingly easy. I mean, I just think, wow, why hasn't somebody done this before? But here we are, and I'm excited. I'm inspired. I'm just so grateful to the folks that are willing to help out. And I think about the fire victims, the evacuees, and look at their lives right now. And here we are. We're all cozy. In a blink of an eye, it could be one of us. Yeah. So. Do what you can when you can.
Yeah, Earl, this is Alan again. Carl will remember when we used to do contests with Rotary. I know with Bloodmobile, they would try to see who got the most pints at the Bloodmobile between Rotary or Kiwanis, and I don't know what they did for the winter, but you know, maybe that's a way to instill more rivalry between our clubs.
Oh, I love a challenge.
So you're right. I have a challenge also.
Yes, John.
I'd like to challenge every Kiwanian to get at least 10 neighbors and hand out bags to them and pick them up and take them to you on the 10th of October.
Where do we get extra bags?
I've got some. Sherry, give
I
me
get
all
you
those
some.
bags I need.
Yeah.
Where?
So if you need a bag, just let me know, and I will get it to you one way or another.
Well, I'll take, if I can have 5 bags, I'll go to my neighbors.
Okay.
Where do I get 5 bags?
I'll get you 5 bags.
Okay, good.
I'll get them over to you today or tomorrow, Ann.
Sounds good.
That's how easy it is, folks.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, anybody else? Go ahead.
I'd just like to tell Sherry, I'm the guy from Alaska, by the way. We need to get together and visit.
Sounds great. Oh yeah, what part?
I'm from Haines, Alaska.
Haines, oh my goodness. Okay, yeah, definitely. Well, you got my email address.
Okay. Well, your thought for the day. The way I see it, if you want a rainbow, you got to put up with the rain. Have a good day, folks.